The late afternoon sun bathed Willow Creek's circle in a golden glow, the air heavy with the smoky sweetness of sizzling burgers and ribs. Laughter spilled across the communal green at the cul-de-sac's end, a joyful mix of English and Spanish woven into the chatter of kids chasing a bright red ball. The annual neighborhood cookout was alive, picnic blankets sprawled across the grass, tables groaning under shared potato salads and homemade salsas, neighbors swapping stories over cold drinks. It was the kind of day that felt like a snapshot of summer, warm and easy. Javier Morales, off duty from his role as a state highway patrol commander, leaned back in a lawn chair, his jeans and faded polo a far cry from his usual crisp uniform. His 7-year-old son, Diego, was a blur of energy, weaving through friends with that boundless spark only kids fueled by sunshine and lemonade have. Javier's wife, Sophia, handed him a plate piled high with food, her smile soft as she rested her head against his shoulder. For once, life felt simple, grounded in the hum of community. But not everyone saw it that way. From her pristine porch across the circle, Margaret Hensley watched with a scowl that could curdle milk. Arms crossed tight, her lips a thin slash of disapproval, she radiated contempt. Margaret, a widow in her 60s with stiffly styled blonde hair and an air of unearned superiority, was the self-appointed gatekeeper of Willow Creek standards. As a veteran of every HOA committee, she believed the neighborhood's soul hinged on quiet lawns, rigid rules, and above all, English. The arrival of families like the Moraleses, with their VY brand traditions and bilingual chatter, felt like a personal affront to her carefully curated world. Her gripes were usually subtle anonymous notes about unmowed grass, pointed comments about noisy family gatherings, a frosty glare when Spanish floated her way. But today, the cookout's blend of cultures of laughter, the spices, the easy mix of languages seemed to claw at her. To Margaret, it wasn't a celebration. It was chaos, an invasion. Then, a scream shattered the air, sharp and raw with fear. Diego. He'd tripped near a patch of blooming lantana, his small hands clawing at his neck. His face, flushed from play moments ago, was now ghostly pale, swelling spreading like a dark stain. Sophia reached him in a heartbeat, her gasp choked with terror. Javier was right behind, his commander's instincts kicking an over-the-gut punch of seeing his son collapse. A red welt pulsed on Diego's neck. A bee sting. Sophia's eyes locked on the swelling lips, the faint whistle of Diego's labored breathing. Anaphylaxis. Their worst fear, the allergy they dreaded since he was a toddler, was unfolding in seconds. EpiPen. Sophia screamed, digging frantically through her tote, sunscreen and snacks spilling onto the grass. Javier was already on his phone, dialing 911, his voice steady despite the ice in his veins. Anaphylactic shock. Pediatric male, 7 years old, bee sting confirmed. Willow Creek Circle Green. Respiratory distress, severe, progressing fast. Neat odds now. Sophia's trembling fingers found the EpiPen, years of practice overriding panic. She jammed it into Diego's thigh, counting to 10 as his terrified eyes met hers. He gasped, a strangled sound that tore at her heart. Hives bloomed across his skin like warning flares. The epinephrine was a lifeline, but it was only buying time. He needed a hospital. Now. Neighbors, drawn by Sophia's cry, gathered, their faces etched with worry. The cookout's joy evaporated, replaced by a suffocating silence, broken only by Diego's desperate wheezes and Sophia's whispered pleas in Spanish. "Breathe, mi amor. Stay with me." Then, Hopia's siren wailed in the distance, growing louder, closer. The ambulance's red lights flashed through the trees as it turned into the narrow entrance road. Relief rippled through the crowd. Help was here. But Margaret Hensley had other plans. A cold, calculating glint flickered in her eyes as she slipped off her porch, ignoring the neighbors' confused shouts. She darted to her gleaming white SUV, a vehicle she'd often cited in complaints about improper parking. With a jolt, she reversed, then swung the SUV forward, blocking the entrance road completely. The ambulance screeched to a halt, its siren choking off just feet from the barricade. Margaret killed the engine, Leah VYing the keys in the ignition, and stepped out, smartphone raised, recording. Her voice was loud, venomous, dripping with malice. "This stops now." She panned her phone across the stunned crowd, then toward the Moraleses. "This is what you get. You people move in, bring your noise, your disrespect. You don't even speak English." Her words sliced through the air, shrill and unhinged. "You break every rule, parking, music, everything." A neighbor, Tom Bradley, a retired firefighter, stepped forward, his voice shaking with rage. "Margaret, move that car. A kid's dying." She whirled on him, spitting. "He needs to learn English. This is America." Her phone swung back to the ambulance, where paramedics, grabbing gear, stared in disbelief. "Go back where you came from. We don't need your third-world problems here." The lead paramedic, his voice tight, barked, "Ma'am, move that vehicle. We have a pediatric emergency." Margaret planted her feet, sneering. "Not my problem. Let them call their own people." Javier watched this nightmare unfold, a deadly calm settling over him. Diego's lips were turning blue, his wheezes now a high-pitched whistle. The EpiPen was losing its fight. There was no time for Margaret's hate, no time for anything but action. He turned away, pulling out his patrol-issued phone. Bypassing 911, he dialed the direct line to the Highway Patrol of VY Asian Command. "This is Commander Morales," he said, voice low and lethal. "Priority 0 medical emergency. Pediatric anaphylaxis, airway compromised, critical. Willow Creek Circle. CIVY Lien paramedics blocked by hostile vehicle. Suspect is recording, racially motivated. Air 1 is airborne in Sector 7. Divert to my position for tactical medical insertion. Time is critical. Execute now." A tense silence followed, broken only by Diego's fading gasps and Margaret's fading rant. Then, a faint thump grew louder, insisting the whump-whump of rotor blades. Heads snapped up as a blue and silver helicopter roared over the oaks, its gold patrol star gleaming. Air 1 didn't land. The green was too small. Instead, it hovered 50 feet above, its rotor wash blasting leaves and napkins into a frenzy. Margaret's voice died, her phone drooping as she gaped at the machine dominating her perfect neighborhood. A cable snaked down, and 2 tactical paramedics in dark flight suits descended, landing yards from Diego. They ignored Margaret's SUV, kneeling beside the boy with calm precision. For lines, steroids, oxygen, their hands moved like they'd done this 1,000 times. Meanwhile, sirens screamed closer. Patrol cars and local police swarmed the entrance, stopped short by Margaret's blockade. Troopers spilled out, assessing the chaos. The stranded ambulance, the hovering chopper, the crowd pointing at Margaret. Javier, standing near the medics, pointed at her. "Trooper, detain her. Now." Striding to the lead sergeant, he laid it out. "Felony obstruction of emergency, sir, VYCS, reckless endangerment, false imprisonment, hate crime violations." She blocked the ambulance during a pediatric emergency. Secure her finesse recording. Get the ambulance dash cam and every witness statement. Troopers moved fast. Margaret sputtered, "This is my property. You can't arrest me." But her defiance crumbled as handcuffs clicked. Her rights read aloud as she was led to a cruiser. Her phone, still recording, was sealed as EVY Denke. The paramedics worked miracles. Recognizing Diego's fading oxygen, they intubated him on the spot, a pediatric tube securing his airway. His blue lips pinked up, his chest rising with each squeeze of the oxygen bag. A stretcher basket descended from the chopper, and Diego was secured, a medic clipped beside him. Sophia, tears streaking her face, climbed aboard, her hand on Diego's chest as the helicopter roared off toward the trauma center. Javier watched them vanish, the adrenaline crash hitting hard. He leaned against an oak, exhaustion and terror washing over him. Troopers collected statements, neighbors recounting Margaret's cruelty with cold fury. Her own live stream, combined with bystander videos, spread like wildfire online, sparking outrage. Headlines screamed, "Woman blocks ambulance," screams, "Learn English as child fights for life." The helicopter rescue, the raw idiot, was a perfect storm of horror and heroism. Willow Creek's HOA, facing a PR nightmare, apologized publicly, ousting Margaret and reforming their rules. They pursued legal action to force her house's sale and banned her from the neighborhood. An investigation into Margaret's phone revealed Moria heated call about missing HOA funds, hinting at embezzlement with the treasurer, Greg. Federal and state probes piled on. Hate crimes, obstruction, fraud. Margaret faced 15 years in prison, her assets stripped to pay the Morales' damages. She vanished into the penitentiary, a cautionary tale. Diego recovered fully, the intubation essay VYing him for brain damage. The Moraleses, shaken but resilient, found support from neighbors and strangers alike. Willow Creek changed. Potlucks became cultural exchanges. HOA meetings demanded transparency, and the neighborhood faced its flaws head-on. The next cookout felt different, less forced, more real. English and Spanish mingled naturally, just the sound of home. Javi watching Diego chase that red ball again, felt a quiet pride. Sophia laughed with neighbors, sharing recipes, building bridges. Near the entrance, 2 flags flew, the American stars and stripes, and beside it, the green, white, and red of Mexico. A silent promise that hate would never again block compassion in Willow Creek.